Hi, this is Trinesha Catrell, and I know I look it is. So I was getting ready for bed and spending some time with God, and God said, "Go now." So I'm here because I want to be obedient, which is why the title author of Learn from My Missteps, and I am a mother. I am an entrepreneur is helping other women and men really see their value. My main goal is to just let people know how amazing they truly are. Like to really see them the way that God sees them, not for their mistakes, not for the things that they've done wrong, not for any of the decisions that they made in life, but really who they truly are. For them to really truly believe in themselves, to know that everything is possible with God. And it's so funny because it's true when you really have a purpose, when you really have something that is your reason for being here, it's really soul work. It's really something deep down in your soul that's telling you, like, this is what I need to do for the people. This is what has to be changed. It's usually when it's your purpose, it's something that you see differently than everybody else. Like people might see that they need more encouragement, but you see people that are hurting. You see people who need that word of inspiration. You see people who constantly devalue themselves. You see people who don't know how amazing they truly are, which is why it's up to you to be the change that you want to see in the world. It's up to you to be the things that God purposed you to be. I used to feel like, God, why did you choose me? Why me? I'm imperfect. I'm flawed. I have a lisp. Most people don't listen to me. I had all of these excuses and reasons why God shouldn't choose me. And when I start to doubt myself, when I have these moments, God reminds me of Moses. He reminds me of all the unqualified people in the Bible, all the people in the Bible who felt like they weren't qualified, who got qualified for the position. All the people who thought that they weren't good enough, thought that it couldn't be them because they weren't this or they weren't that. They spent so much time trying to convince God of who they're not instead of realizing who God created them to be. And I feel like that's all of us. Sometimes you'll go places like mine's is when I meet different people. And I was going to say men at first, but when I meet different people, I will meet people and they will have this dream, they will have this thing that they want to do in their life and they'll feel like, "Oh, it's impossible for me to do this. There's no way I could ever do blah." And when I'm talking to them, I can see them be those things that they dream of, those things that they wish they could have in their life, and I'm like, "Why not?" And they have all these excuses for the reasons why. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that person that's just crying in the videos and stuff, but it really means this much to me to help people, like deep down in my soul. I just want people to really truly see themselves the way that God sees them. I want them to know that nothing is impossible with God. Like, I know every single guy that you met hasn't been the person, but I promise you, God has your blessing on the way. If God promised you marriage, God is not going to allow you to settle for somebody who doesn't deserve you. God is not going to allow you to have to be with someone just because they're a person. God wants you to have his absolute best for you. When it's a job, yeah, the job pays a lot of money, but God is not going to allow you to be in a job that's going to stress you out, that will pay you a lot of money to sell your soul. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? I don't want to settle with a man. I don't want to settle with the job. I don't want to settle with an opportunity or my business. I don't want to settle in any area of my life. Everything that I am, everything that I have is God. And I want God's best for me and every single person that ever watches this video, every person walking the face of this earth that's trying to do better. I want you to believe in yourself. I know sometimes it's hard because when you grow up, people will try to tell you who they think that you are. I know sometimes it seems impossible because you feel like, well, look at where I am. How can anything be any different? But you don't realize that God is prepping you in this moment. You don't realize that all of the things that you're going through are to make you better. They're making you stronger. They're teaching you something so you can take it to the next season, so that you can take it to the next level with you. And I had heard this pastor say something about it's not just a season, this is your life. Like God isn't just about to change a season of your life, He's going to change everything. And I think that's how we should start thinking of it. All of the pain that you went through, all of the heartbreak, all of the things that you went through in the past that felt like they determined who you were or not who you are. Those are just a moment it's just a moment in your life. But sometimes we make one moment a lifetime. That one heartbreak becomes every person. That one job that didn't want you becomes every job. That one friend who betrayed you becomes every friend, but that's not everybody. That's your trauma speaking. That's your heartbreak speaking. That's that hurt version of you speaking. That is not the healed version of you. That is not the whole version of you. God really, earlier today, I was in a situation where I was tested. And I prayed about it before I got there. I said, God, just give me the strength to be able to make it through. And it's so funny because you can really tell when your faith is lacking when you start to pray in lack. And I know some people don't understand what I mean by that, but what I mean is instead of praying, God, heal this person so that they could walk, so that they could do all of the things that you intend for them to do, you say, God, I just pray that they make it through the surgery. Not that they make it home, but that they make it through the surgery. Oh God, do what you can do, whatever that is. That's what your prayer becomes instead of God, do the impossible. I think it's really true because when you start to feel doubtful, when you start to second guess where God is taking you in your life, your prayers really do become lackful. You start to say things like, oh God, yeah, I just want to be in a healthy relationship, not with the kingdom spouse, not with the guy that's going to treat you any differently than any other guy, but God, I just want to be in a healthy relationship. No, listen, I don't care what's happening in my life, what's happening around me or in your life. I hope that your prayer is in abundance and not in lack. I hope that you're praying, if you're praying for a man and God is telling you that that's where he's taking you on your journey, that you're praying for a God that's going to treat you like no God has ever treated you before, that he's going to love you like Christ loved the church, that he's really going to be like no other God that you've ever met in your entire life, that he's going to make you wonder why you ever considered settling in the first place, that he's the type of God that's going to be intentional. He's the type of God that has all of these things that he offers you that you actually need and not just what you want, not just what's appeasing to the eye or to the flesh, but what's really feeding your soul, something that really is going to fill you up in the way that only God can do. Only God can send someone that will really bring that type of peace and joy and common decency, courtesy, respect, and discipline in your life. And for me, God has been showing me I need to be those things that I want in a person. And when I'm praying for covering over that person and covering of myself, for God to guide my footsteps and to show me where it is that I need to go, the things that I need to do. I know I'm not perfect, and I always want to try to be a better person. So when you're praying about whatever it is that you're going through in your life, first be obedient and seek God. Then when you pray for everything. Like when I say everything, some people may call it greed. Some people may say whatever it is that they want to say. But listen, when you know God is the God of abundance and he can make the impossible possible, there's nothing that you could ask for that God won't give you if it's not becoming your idol. As long as you take it to God He will give you the desires of your heart if you're doing things, if you're called according to his purpose. So when I'm praying for everything. I'm leaving nothing on the table. There's nothing that I want for. And that's like an old country saying that we say around here. They say, "Oh yeah, she's so spoiled, she wants for nothing." But listen, my God gives me everything I need. I could want for nothing. My finances is abundant, I no matter how much money I make, God makes sure that I'm taken care of. No matter what I'm doing in my life, God makes sure that I'm taken care of, like in every single area. And it's so funny how we can get spiritual amnesia and forget that God is who he says he is. He is the great I am. And so I'm leaving nothing left. When I leave, I don't have anything left on the table. I want to get to heaven and God to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." I want him to say, "You did everything that I put on the inside of you to do, that you inspired, you helped, you served all of the people that I intended for you to help and serve." I want him to say that your kingdom marriage was the thing that I needed to be a reflection of this kingdom. I want him to say that you respected the man that I gave you like no other woman I've ever seen on this entire earth. And I know you think that I'm just over exaggerating, but I mean that from the bottom of my soul. Like, I used to think it was a joke, and I was like, "God, yeah, right. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. I don't want this." And God really softened my heart and allowed me to be able to see, no, I can do the impossible. You're going to be with someone. And no, I haven't met the person yet, but I do believe in God for everything that he promised me. I don't have a doubt in my mind that God is going to come through in the way that he sees fit. And I'm trusting him because he can do everything for me in my life way better than anything I could do. Vengeance when it comes to picking people, when it comes to picking jobs, when it comes to picking opportunities. Like, I used to pray, or I used to want things in my life prematurely. And I soon realized that that was not a blessing, that was a curse. I needed to walk by faith and not by sight. I really needed to trust God and not myself. Like, yes, I need to trust myself. I understand that, but I need to trust God more because God knows what's best for me. God is incredible. Like, I'm so happy he didn't give me half of the guys, any of the men that I've ever met in the past. And nothing's wrong with those men. I'm pretty sure they'll make someone really happy. But I'm just so happy that God did not give me that person. I'm happy that God allowed me to wait this long because I know everything on God's timing is perfect timing. I'm glad God didn't grow my business any faster than he needed to. I'm glad that the amount of people that I have on this channel is the amount of people that I have on this channel. Nothing more, nothing less. And when God decides to grow this channel, I'm happy and grateful that he's growing this channel. I'm happy and grateful for the man that he's going to send into my life that will literally love me like Christ loved the church. That will, I was about to say what TG always says. Tony Gaskins always says this prayer. I mean, this saying, he says, yeah, you need to make sure you're with the guy that would drink your dirty bath water. And I know that sounds disgusting, but when you think about someone who is willing to die for you, that's what the Bible says. When you're thinking of someone who's willing to love you like Christ loved the church, there's nothing greater than Christ loving the church. Like, so when I imagine that, I imagine someone who really does truly see my value, someone who knows my worth, someone who will really appreciate the person that God created me to be and not try to make me be anybody else. Yes, they may want me to become a better person or to be better, and both of us to become better people and examples of the kingdom. But I don't expect that person to try to make me be anybody but myself, you know? And so I am willing to wait on God. I'm willing to be obedient because I know God can do way better than I can. I know everything that I am is God. Everything that I have is God's. And I just want to be obedient. I know this is real late, and I'm on here literally because I want to be obedient to God. And I usually say things like, I don't want to take too long, but I'm going to take however long it is that God needs for me to take. And some people may judge because, I don't have makeup on and I was getting ready for bed and everything else. But listen, this is who I am. I accept me. I love me. I respect me. Whoever comes along that watches these videos, I hope that you get the message. I hope that you hear what I'm saying. I hope that you're listening, that God is touching your heart, that He is really allowing you to be able to hear the words that you need to hear, to have things resonate with you that will help you on your journey. I hope that every single person that watches this video really does understand who they are and whose they are. When you really know who you are, you refuse to settle for less than anything less than God's best. You refuse. When I meet people, when I have my moments, something in the back of my mind is like, don't settle. No matter how difficult life gets, no matter what's happening around me, no matter how many exes end up in relationships, no matter or whoever, like none of that stuff makes me feel like I want to settle for somebody else. I literally am to the point in my life where when I meet someone and I know I'm settling, I have to let it go. I can't even try to convince myself. I can't even try to convince myself, oh yeah, let me just give this person a chance. No, no, no. I'm not settling for less than God's best. When I feel myself get weak, I pray to God and I say, God, just help me make it through this. I'm not strong enough in this season. I'm not strong enough in this moment to withstand these things. I'm not strong enough in this moment to not want this or not, be around this or have the idea of wanting this thing or whatever it is. Like it could be a person comes into my life and they're not it. And it's no diss, no dig at them. It's just, I know what it is that I need to do in my life and what I want. And that's not it. And I'm pretty sure someone else, that's the person, that's grace for them, and they will be completely appreciative of that. But for me, in my house, I was about to be like a pastor and say we will serve the Lord, but listen, no, seriously, I'm at a place in my life where I'm just not willing to settle for less than God's best. I don't want anything less than that. Every time I talk to someone who is not God's best, and it could be a friend, it could be a romantic person, it could be anyone, it doesn't sit right in my spirit anymore. Like those things used to be comfortable. Now it just makes me feel like it's like this. It's like vile. It doesn't sit right with my spirit. It's like my spirit is uneasy, even thinking about settling. My spirit is uneasy, even thinking about being in those types of situations. Every time, like when I first started thinking about this, or when I first started being intentional and obedient, and I first started loving myself, I was like, oh yeah, I could totally do this one thing. And every single hour, every single day, I would just feel this gnawing at my spirit, like this ain't right. This isn't right. This is not right. And until I released whatever it was, because I knew it wasn't for me. I want you to really think about what you want your life to be and the things that you're willing to live with. Because sometimes when we think about a moment, it's like, oh yeah, I could do this for a moment, but you don't think about what you could do for your whole life. Can you really deal with this person times 10 doing this thing that you know is wrong? Can you really deal with this thing times 10 when you know it's wrong? What is it that you really want for your life? What are the things that are aligned with your purpose? If that job isn't aligned with your purpose, stay there until God tells you to leave. You thought I was going to tell you something different. No. Listen, you have to really focus on God and use discernment. Take it to Him and see what it is that He wants you to do. Allow Him to guide you. Allow Him to show you what it is that you need for your life. I know everything that God is going to give me, that He's going to bless me with, is going to shock me. It's going to be the type of blessing that I never even imagined could happen in my life. I've seen what God can do, and I can't. Every time, I'm so sorry about being so cry. I'm so sorry about being like literally just being so emotional. But when I think about the goodness of God, it really does make me so emotional. Like I just immediately want to feel teary eyed. I immediately want to feel like, oh my gosh, like God, me really? I know how good God is. And if I'm thinking, if God gives me a man who is really like the guy, like this is something that helps me when I used to think about settling when I first started loving myself. Think about the guy who will be all of the things that you always imagine. And I don't mean some unrealistic standards like 6 foot with a six pack, driving some kind of Bentley, or I don't know what kind of car it is that you like. But listen, regardless, none of those things that are just preferences matter at all. I mean, think of what you actually need. Imagine a guy that does all the things that you actually need, that really does treat you like you're the best thing since sliced bread. Like imagine he is the type of man who you, and I don't want to say see in a movie because that's unrealistic. That's just something somebody wrote, you know? I mean, a real man who is really a leader. Someone who really does care about helping people. Whatever your thing is, right? Imagine you're with this type of man. And before you start saying it's impossible for a guy to really be interested in that way, to really put forth that much effort, because so many men have not been willing to put forth an effort, know that with God, the impossible is possible. And God would never intend for you to settle for anyone that doesn't see your true value. I really hope you know how worthy you are of love, real love. I hope you know how worthy you are of really being treated the way that God always intended you to be, as His daughter. He never intended for you to be a side person. He never intended for you to be someone's option. He never intended for you to be someone's, gaslightingism, whatever terminology people are using nowadays. He never intended for you to settle for anything less than the best that He has for you. He wants you to be treated like His daughter. Every time I make a decision, I think, am I honoring and respecting God in this decision? And if my answer is no, I know I need to change my perspective. I need to change my mindset. I need to change what I'm doing. If I say yes, then I know I'm aligned with God. So every time you get ready to settle, every time you get ready to make a decision, think, is this aligning with God? Is this aligning with God? Am I really honoring and respecting God in this decision, with this person, in this job, at this place, doing whatever it is that you're doing in your life? That's what really helps keep me on track. That and discipline. When I feel things start to slip, my faith, whatever else, I fast and I become more disciplined. I serve. When I get angry, when I feel these negative emotions that I don't want to feel, because I want to be able to have space for happiness and joy and peace, I serve. And every time I serve, it brings me right back to God. So when you are thinking about obedience, make sure you are staying focused on God. And if you want to see more videos like this that just pop up, I don't know if I should really say that because this is really God. I was getting ready for bed, about to spend some alone time with God, and God said post. And so I'm here. I really will whenever God sees fit, be here. And I also have a schedule. So I make sure that I'm here Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you like this video, just put a heart in the comments just to let me know that I gave you something in this video, that God allowed me to be able to help you in some sort of way, that the message really, really touched your soul or your heart. It really allowed you to see things in a new perspective, or it really helped you in any way, because I really do want to help as many people as I possibly can. I want to be intentional with my life. I want to be the type of person who God can be proud of. So drop the heart, and thank you so much for watching. The people who viewed, I did see that some views came in, which I mean, it's real late. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on here and supporting and listening. It really warms my heart to know that I'm helping somebody, or that someone may have heard something that they needed in their life, you know? So thank you so much. I appreciate it, and good night.